Hello, and welcome to Baddie Pride. Thank you so much for joining us for our very first production of Stew Pot. We also wanted to thank Evil Hat Productions for sponsoring this series. And if you want to have a copy of Stew Pot for your very own, be sure to stick around until the end of the video for details on how you could potentially win your own copy. And start. Hello, and welcome to Baddie Pride Month, the bards doing Pride Month things. So we're gonna be playing a little game called Stew Pot today, and super fucking stoked. So I'm gonna let the cast go around and introduce themselves, and then we will jump right in. So I guess we'll start with Blueberry.
Hello, my name is Bluu. My pronouns are they, them. You can find me in the internet streets as Kyngvee underscore and as King with a Y. And I'll be playing Jasper Axsyn, pronouns he, they, and they. Um, a little sweet spirit caller who truly is just here to help folks find the love of their lives.
Okay, and next on our list we have Apple.
Hi y'all. It is Apelegeuse. It's Apelegeuse spelled like Beetlejuice for those who know. I will be playing Katressa Fearson. Pronouns they, any, for both of us, I suppose. And they are a drow elf rogue who had spent some time in the Underdark, trained by a Medusa in the ways of darkness and shadow and stone.
Nice. And last but not least, we have Satine.
Hello, everyone. I'm Satine. Pronouns my name and none. Um, you can find me yapping all the time. Blue skeets, blue sky,
Those are
blue
fine.
sky. Um, with the same name, Sateenbonnet. I will be playing Leonius Lawos. Pronouns they them, and your common abyssal seer.
An
That'll be
abyssal
fun.
seer. Okay, and I am Alix. Use they them pronouns, and I am going to be playing Garen Gruff. He uses he they pronouns, and he's just a golden retriever of a beastmaster with a cute little red panda familiar named Bobo. I'm so excited. Okay, let's jump right in,
I
y'all.
love Bobo
Bobo,
already.
I would destroy the world for Bobo. No questions asked. I haven't even seen him yet. Big fucking fan. Okay.
Right.
So I guess to jump in, let's talk about our location probably and then build the tavern of Skosh. Okay. So our location.
We we
You
we
wrote out a
we
really
we we
cool thing.
we did, we did. If you check the little tavern sheet, you can see it in the location section, what we wrote.
All right, cool.
That's all
Let's
the thing.
talk about our tavern. So the location that we have come up with as a unit is a place called Mysha's Embrace. It's an archipelago of pinkish golden sand surrounded by a magical coral reef. The islands are known for their lush jungles, extensive hydroponic system, and a beautiful cityscape that floats on water. People worldwide come to soak in the healing magical waters, but they stay for the warm and welcoming people. We have a couple of really cool like landmarks. First and foremost, we have the Wretch's Well. It's an island tradition to throw trinkets into this pit for good luck and fortune. And we have the Eternal Tower, which is an old ruined tower covered in moss and ivy. You can find statues that depict the story of lost companions that find their way to one another, and the statues convene in the center. There is also a place called
Well,
crap.
I got you.
Thank
Garden
you.
of Him. I think is that how you said it? Him, whatever.
Him,
That.
yeah.
Thank you. A famous hydroponic garden that grows fruits, flowers such as Mysha's breath, and herbs. And our last one is St. Grung's Grotto, which is like this purple, bluish algae covering rocks, a path that leads to an underwater cove where mermaids tend to stay.
Oh yeah, there's mermaids. There's mermaids. All
Mermaid.
right.
Mermaids.
So there should be mermaids. Mermaids are best
They make everything
best.
better.
They do. All right. So fuck it, let's build a tavern, shall we?
Let
So let's go around and add a thing to this awesome tavern, and then we'll come up with a name. Whoever would like to go first. I've been talking a lot, so it won't be me.
Yeah, it
Or
won't be. I
I'll go first.
I will say first, what does your tavern look like? Be as general or specific as you like. What interests you the most about the building, and what draws your eyes? But go ahead, Apple.
I think the general look of the town, since we are just starting out, is that it is pretty like generic, a little bit slam shot, a little bit like a basic like layout of a building that like was maybe once like a very like cozy, well defined like nook of the wall, but has like since fallen into a bit of disrepair. But it's a bit of a fixer upper. You know, we can fix it up. I think the first thing that Katressa would have added to it was like a little bit of like a game area. So there's like a dartboard. It's like set up in like one of the corners. However, the thing that Katressa has done is that she has put like a magnet like on the back of the bullseye and like has made the like tips of the darts like the same like pole as the magnets so that like people can't get the bullseye. Um, just as like a little bit of an extra fuck you. There's a couple of like darts that like actually do work, which that she'll use if she ever needs to like play or win bets.
Dad, I love
But that is
that.
something that she was very adamant about is just a little trick dartboard in the corner so that people can play and just get a little bit frustrated for her amusement.
Okay, I'm down for that.
That's dope.
How
Popcorn Bluu.
about oh shit, damn, cool. Um shit. I like the idea of our tavern having it's a fixer-upper, and I like to think that, like, a lot of the architecture in Mysha's Embrace is, like, stone. So I like a stone tavern, maybe, like, various colored shades of gray, it's made up of definitely maybe has, like, a rather leaky roof. There's, like, hella vines that are flowering, like, along its walls and kind of framing its door. Yeah. And sorry, hold on, because I'm taking notes.
Mm, I'm glad somebody is, because it ain't me.
Ba-da-ba-da-ba. And what would Jasper have added to it? Hmm. I think they would have um decked out like I like the idea of this place having like a sunroom and they have it like curtained off to take clients like for their matchmaking services. And like days where they aren't taking clients for the matchmaking services, people can like rent it out, have like a kind of intimate setting or whatever. Um, yeah.
That's cool.
All right, what would I
I'm
add?
gonna yeah, what would y'all add?
Okay, so I think our tavern um has an upstairs section that we actually let people sleep. Like, you know, it's an inn too. So we have some maybe a little dusty rooms a little bit. Some of the beds may be falling apart, but we could fix that over time. And definitely my character would love to fix that. Fix that up. Um but what I would like to add to the tavern is a workshop or like a break room for all the characters to take. If they're not on the floor, they can come in like after hours. It's just like a room that maybe we play cards in, maybe we just exchange stories in, just to be away from the crowd itself.
That's really cool.
I love that.
Okay.
Our own little cozy room.
Yeah, like a little staff room. I fucks with that.
Yeah.
Okay, so for little old me, um, I feel like this is just my like what I'm picturing. I love the idea of this tavern being on stilts, like stone architecture on stilts, like on a boardwalk almost. Um and then like just to have it like as a crown jewel almost in the middle of the sea or the cove that we're in. Um and I also like the idea what Garen would have added to this place is a garden back on the like on the actual mainland. There's like a little square partition um where he would garden and like do
I love
herbs
that.
and fruits and vegetables and
I
stuff.
love that a lot. It's so cute.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Y'all want to take a look at the look and see if I am missing anything?
Let's take a peek see. Ooh. I love the little sad face. That's so funny. Garen's garden. Oh. Yes. Yes. That's great. Yeah. This was perfect.
Lit.
Now the hardest part
Hardest
is
part?
the name of the tavern.
Oh,
Oh shit.
fuck.
We got this, you guys. I
I already got my name. I got my name.
What's your name? Let's hear
should
it.
go first then.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Heath and Holler.
Heath and Holler.
Mm-hmm.
What is Heath?
Mm.
Like the candy bar?
Like the you know how the fireplace? It's called a heath.
Oh, Hearth and Hearth and
Hearth.
It's
Holler.
Hearth and
Hearth
Holler.
and
I
Holler.
said heath.
Hearth and Holler.
Hearth and Holler.
Oh,
So that's my
you know what?
you know.
Me personally, I like Hearth and Holler. Is all I'm saying.
I
I
said
think
heath.
that's just fine.
Heathcliff.
Hey,
I like Hearth and Holler.
Hearth and
Um,
Holler.
How
I'm
about
down
you,
for
Blue?
that.
Okay.
If we
So
are
we
like
have a
on
tavern name.
the coast and like on the ocean, I also like the idea of like when we were like originally like making the sign and like painting it. We did originally spell it Heath and Holler, and like so we've like added the R like retroactively as like what is now like a very like brand friendly like stylized fish hook for the R, but it's like squeezed in a bit like between the E or between like the A and the T. So it's like Hearth
That's
and Holler, but
cute.
it's got like a little fish hook for
Mhm.
the R after we like fucked it up like a birthday card.
Here for
Yes.
that.
Yes.
Yeah.
Very adorable. So it's Hearth and Holler, but only kind of, only from one angle.
Yeah. Hearth and Holler.
That's fabulous. Okay.
Okay. We need a chef.
So
We need an NPC, right?
we do. Do we start out with an NPC? Is that a thing we do? I don't think we do.
No,
Sure, let me check.
create it as we go.
Got it.
Oh,
Okay.
as we go.
So
Okay. So it should be empty right now.
Mhm.
yeah, it should be empty right
So
now.
when we do our first step, we will, if we want to introduce a NPC, we can introduce the NPC then.
Oh,
Delightful.
cool. We
Okay.
could just do it.
Delightful. Yeah.
And one more
Shall we
thing, at the end of our little first mini game, remember we use one keepsake. Let's think about
We
Should
that
we
at the
have a
lose
end.
one
keepsake right now?
keepsake.
No, we gain one.
We
Oh, game. Okay,
gain
we
one.
game.
Okay.
Mhm.
Delightful.
Nice. All right.
Lovely. Shall we get into the first mini game then?
Let's
Yeah,
do
the first
first
step.
Yeah.
step.
Right. So
Yeah.
for those who are like unfamiliar with the system, basically how it will go down is that there are 3 mini games sort of per cycle. The first one is just the first step, which is setting up the tavern, and then there's 2 others that get to be chosen by the players, and then we go into the wear and tear phase. So we'll get there when we get there, but for now, first steps. Very exciting. Very exciting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. There is a mini game in here. Let's take a peek. Okay. So it says everyone plays. Everyone gains one town experience, and we take turns describing how we got that experience. What was the first thing you learned about living in the town? I'm sorry, I'm bouncing all over the place because ADHD, don't mind me. Before you found this group of friends, what were you doing? What was the first thing you learned about living in town? Okay. So I guess before we found this group of friends, what were you doing? You know what? I think Garen was probably looking for a bamboo forest for Bobo.
Okay.
And because, like, okay, so y'all know that Garen's grandfather got sick, and that's what like incentivized him to go out looking for a cure for their grandfather. But the grandfather has since passed. So I think they went home for a skosh just a little bit, and then Bobo kind of got antsy and they decided to go out and look for a forest for Bobo to try and find a mate in, like a partner. And just so happened across this island.
Oh, so
Um,
Mysha's Embrace has a bamboo forest is what I'm hearing?
maybe so. Yeah, I think so.
Okay, why not?
I do like that.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Alix, go ahead and you describe your character.
Oh yeah, I probably should do that. Okay, so Garen Gruff is uh like in, what is it called, an eladrin. He's an eladrin that's like in autumn right now but stays in autumn basically. So he's got like blue dreads, he's got a bridge piercing in gold. He wears a little mushroom hat. And he's got like brown skin, purple eyes. That are always kind of watching and seeing what's around. He carries a big, black, shiny, like hammer made of dragon bone. And he's technically a Beastmaster Barbarian. That's not a normal class, but that's his class, you feel me? So he gets a little familiar and he gets a big ass warhammer that he can bash people's skulls in with. And he's a big beefy boy. He's a big beefy boy. He's a quintessential Alix character. He's big as hell for no damn reason, and he's got a heart of gold. He's very family oriented. And yeah, he. Oh, and I guess I can describe Bobo too. Bobo is a red panda who's pretty big. He's like 4.5 to 5 feet long, which is about twice the size of a normal red panda. He's got a shooting star in white fur across his back with the star reaching the back of his head. And he's pretty big and hulking. He likes to sit on Garen's shoulders. And he's also very food motivated. He loves a good meal. He loves a warm bowl of stew. That's one of his favorite things. Um, he's omnivorous, which is wild for a red panda, but he is. So yeah, that
Oh,
is Garen.
I love that. Okay, so then that's what you were doing before you came. What was like one of the first things that Garen learned about life after adventuring?
Oh, one of the first things he learned.
Mhm.
I think one of the first things he learned was how to relax, to be honest.
Mm.
Because he, as a barbarian, he tanked like a lot of heat. Like he would tank a lot of damage and stuff. So he was
Mhm.
always kind of on the lookout for the next big impact, like the next big punch to be like coming towards him for whatever reason. He was always looking out for Bobo. He was always looking out for his party. He was always looking just in general. So I
Yeah,
think the first time that he like made his way to Mysha's embrace, I think they learned how to exhale and how to relax, how to take a step back and just be a human being.
I love that.
Mm.
Rest is extremely fucking important, folks.
You know?
Okay, cool. So
How did he turn from hunter into farmer? What was your
That's a
town
good question.
experience when you like come in to the town?
So let's see here. I'm going to look through the options real quick. I think the town experience that I like is to make food taste better and last longer, or to make your harvest large and exquisite. You know what? I think I'm going to do harvests. So for bounty, um, I think Garen started out with herbs, trying to grow bamboo for Bobo. Um, but like it turns out that he's got a green thumb like that goes out of the scope of a normal plant. So instead of growing some bamboo, he grew like an entire fence's worth of bamboo. And instead of growing a few herbs, he ended up growing a bunch of herbs. Instead of growing one head of lettuce, he ended up growing like 8 or 9. He just had a hellified green thumb. And in discovering that he was basically a natural at gardening, he decided to take it a little bit further and make that his profession. He he happened across when he got the deed for the when he got the deed for the tavern, he happened across the little patch of soil across from the tavern. So I think when he got that deed, he decided to take on being a farmer in general as just something that he enjoyed.
I love that. Okay, well, like, let me try. Like, let's do a scene because it's saying it's a role play heavy game,
Hmm.
right?
Yeah,
Let's fucking paint a picture. Why not?
absolutely. Okay. So
You out
let me
here
look
growing
at
walls of fucking bamboo. I feel like your first neighbor would have been like, "Excuse me, what is going on here?"
uh hey there, just trying to get some bamboo for Bobo here. Have you met Bobo?
Bobo, who the hell? And I think like I'm gonna go with like an old little granny with a big ass beehive. Um, who the hell is Bobo? And they kind of like look over like behind you, very tiny, and sees Bobo, and you just see stars in this little granny's eyes. Granny like blinks and then looks back up at you and kind of pokes you in the belly. Well, all right, you got to feed that cute little baby, and I understand that, but this is unacceptable. I need you to get this. I need you to chop this down.
Chop it down. I mean, I can't feed him if I chop it down. How about this? I'll keep it to a dull roar over here, and if it's all right, I can. If I mow your grass about it, will you let me keep my bamboo forest?
Oh, are you well? And she kind of shuffles and smiles. Well, that's awfully kind of you. Uh, well, I guess it ain't so bad. It is quite pretty. Sure. That'll just do. That'll do just fine. How about you and Bobo come over? I can make some bamboo tea.
Yes, we'd love that. And Bobo kind of like crawls up Garen's body and like wraps himself around my neck like a boa.
Oh,
Um the same way he always does, and we follow Granny into her house.
I love this sweet little cottage, like also on the water, and I think you see it's hella turtles because we're on a coastal world, so
Mhm.
like cat lady equivalent, but turtles.
Turtle
What
Granny.
and they all have special
Insane work,
crocheted
Turtle
hats.
Granny.
Turtle Granny with crocheted hats. I love this so much.
I love that. I like the idea. This is just so sweet. Like Garen is surprisingly so fucking good at, growing these things. It gives Garen the opportunity to like pour back into the community that they're settling in.
Mhm.
Growing all the
Yeah.
excess food and giving it away and stuff. I think that is very kind.
Yeah, Garen is truly and honestly a golden retriever of a human being. Very excited to be here, whatever here happens to be, and ready to help out.
Hell fucking yeah.
Mhm.
How y'all
So
feeling?
who's next? Who wants
Yeah.
to do their town experience next? Oh yeah.
Satine.
Who's next?
Who's
Go,
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 go.
go. You know what? We could popcorn it if you want to, or if everyone feels comfortable, who wants to go next?
I'm cool with popcorning, and if folks like particularly want to go, they can speak up.
Always good to jump in, yeah.
Yeah.
Popcorn
Okay.
sounds
Alright.
good.
Go ahead, Miss Satenius.
All right. Let's see. Picture this.
Mhm.
The ending of a major battle. Dragonfall, blood gushing everywhere, maybe. the the figure of a large person, mostly more in volume than height. Um, we are introduced here to Leonius Lawaz. I gotta get the Z and the W together. I did this to myself. They stand triumphant in that moment, and you see, as I said before, mostly short but tall, like physically wide person. They look like they're constantly, when someone like this, think of like when there's like, I'm trying to describe it well. Someone constantly look like they're descending into water. So all their tendrils, all their robes are in constant movement of deep purples, and they are a deep purple translucent person. Um, they are in this moment huffing very loudly. The battle is taking a lot out of them. And I ask, would somebody join me in this scene after this battle?
You
Fuck
can't see it, but
yeah.
I'm raising my hand.
All of
Ready?
us, it seems,
All of
yes.
us raising our
Okay,
hand.
Yep,
let's do
there you
it.
go.
Let's do it. I think Lawos, or you could call them their nickname Wozy or Leo. Either one is fine, whoever wants to. But this is like the battle, the final battle that everyone knows. They feel it in their bones. This is going to be the last battle.
So this is at that moment when they all feel that.
Yes.
Mm.
So what are you doing in this
Fuck.
scene?
Okay, so question. So what is Leo's part in the party? We
There,
talking what type of vibe? Like a ranger, like fighter, melee, like type shit.
I will say they're wizard warlock
Ooh, okay.
because
We
of
love a
their
pathfinder.
power. Yeah, they're definitely,
Mhm.
or sorcerer. We'll put all three of them together. You know,
Yeah.
we go because
Wizorlock.
everyone is Wizorlock. My nigga Rizolak, but they are I think because you know the ability of having that blade they have. So I think
Mhm.
my blade is like a like not like translucent, very thin blade. And as you hear like a kind of constant hum going through
That
it,
eats.
and as they pull it out, like, or well, put it back in, there is like a moment of quiet because they look frenzied beforehand when they had the blade with them. So they are standing there covered, maybe not covered, but covered in guts or something, because they slayed through that dragon as it fell, and what is everyone else doing? What is your feeling after this?
Mm.
And I'm sorry, just to know if I have it correctly, the dragon is like severely hurt, but it's still up, or the dragon is dead.
It's dead.
That
Yep,
dragon
this
dead
is
as
this
hell.
is the end of
The
this
end.
was the last thing. It is the knot of the last bow.
May I make a
Mm.
suggestion?
Yes.
Mm.
Um, I like the idea of that split second right before Leo does the finishing shot, where we feel that this is the final like fight. This is it. Like Leo has it fucking locked in 100%. Um, and just in that split second of like this fucking dragon roaring and like thunder is crackling behind it and it's like casting this massive shadow. I just want to propose that I love the idea of this thing. Like, this not quite be the idea, but like we know, like, oh, you're fucked. Like, this is it. How do y'all
Okay.
feel about that?
Mhm.
I think we will
Yeah.
just take turns, like finally just
Mm-hmm.
saying why this is the end for you and what's your move and why this is the end. I think
I love
for
this.
Lawal's, it's the idea they killed the last doom and gloom in dread as their
Mhm.
eyes glaze over as they I didn't talk about the keeper, but I will bring that up later. As their seeing ability, you see a net. They see a net everywhere in their world. They go through it and they see multiple pinpoints of the dragon dying. But
Mm.
there's another dragon in the distance.
Not my
Mm.
anime gasp. That really caught me off guard.
And they see that ending right there and a new ending, a new start of gloom. But instead of looking for that, because they've been wary about it, they look somewhere else on the net.
I love
And
that.
there's like a more happier ping somewhere else of a gleaming place that they may see that all of us could be in. So that's
Misha's
my
embrace,
thing.
perhaps?
Mm? Mm? But yeah, everyone, if you want to, what is your final moments of slaying? Well, we're fighting the dragon. What is it? And then what's your thought that you're done?
Hmm. I feel like for Jasper, what type of I also had Jasper was like warlock, sorcerer, like paladin vibes, surprisingly. Like kind of like a small individual, but like they can pack a fucking punch. Um and I feel like they are maybe across the room and they can see everybody like at different, points or what have you. They are maybe like on the edge of, I don't know, some little cliff or whatever that's in there. Like they took a high vantage point. Their wing is injured, so they can no longer fly. And one of their legs is like really fucked up. And I think they look down at everybody and that lightning is crackling and their heart skips a beat at the thought of like this not working. Like that split second of if we don't do this, it's done for us. Like I think like that is how they're thinking. Like this is the last fight, and like in that we could still like be taken out. And I think they feel like it. It is like a whine in their ears, and everything is just silent. And their eyes are usually like closed and sort of like like a sort of like anime kind of always smiling eyes vibe. But I think their eyes are like wide open, and the whites of their eyes are like swirling with the colors of their emotions that are within them right now. And yeah, their heart, they start to hear their heart beating like, oh fuck, like I can't lose them. And that occurs to Jasper, like, we have to end this and I have to survive this and I have to go. So I think just resolving themselves to like seeing the end of this, but also kind of like some grief there because they have realized like how deeply they care for everybody. Um, and what that might mean.
So what's your finishing blow?
I like the idea of Jasper fucking jumping off of that cliff edge with I like the idea of their staff being able to get really fucking big, almost like a hammer. Like it's this wooden staff with like a massive like crystal ball, but it's actually like just a dewdrop. And they use it in their matchmaking services. But I think it is like huge, like a massive fucking club. And they are just like swinging it over their head and hitting this dragon on the back of its like I feel like maybe neck or head or maybe like the top of the head. Real kind of like Fred Flintstone vibes.
And I guess the last question is, what is that moment that you saw that it is the end for you? That you're not doing this anymore?
The that feeling of uncertainty of, like, losing everybody. They don't wanna experience that anymore. They're like, "I cannot continue to do this."
Right. Anyone wanna go next?
Oh.
I think for Garen, there is a moment of like overwhelming sound and sight and smell, overwhelming intake, overwhelming input. Baby is overstimulated like fuck because I think in this moment he sees Bobo limping, having taken a nasty bite on one of his forepaws. I think Garen himself is singed and smoking, lost some bits of his mushroom hat. One of his ears is a little singed. His dreads were like a huge chunk of them were on fire for a bit. His clothes are ragged and haggard. And he's holding on to his hammer of dragon bone. And he wants to heft it above his head and knows he can. But I think he is so fucking tired because the the through line of being an adventurer is to show up, shoot 'em up, and loot. Show up, shoot 'em up, and loot. Show up, shoot 'em up, and loot. And that cycle, I think, has gotten so exhausting for him. There is no bottom. There is no, it's a thankless job. Like, maybe the townsfolk are happy. Maybe they remember you. Most times they don't. A lot of times it's hard to even get a hot meal after beating the shit out of something 10 times the size of a village. And I think Garen is just over it in general. He thinks about all of the things that he's lost in this quest to find a cure for his grandfather, which ultimately ended up turning to nothing anyway because his grandfather passed regardless, as did followed by his grandmother who died of a broken heart and all this extra shit. And it was just, he's lost a lot and he wants to go home, but there's no place for him to go now. This party, these people, this is the closest he has to home now. And I think in a home with no rest, there can be no respite. And I think that's what Garen feels is this overwhelming exhaustion. And I think he simply raises his hammer and lets out this "Ah!" and boom, 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 starts beating the hell out of this dragon because he just wants it to be over. He wants it to be done. He's tired. He wants to lay down and not wake up for like 5 years, Rip Van Winkle style.
Apple? What is your final blow?
I think for Katressa being the rogue of the party, in terms of like thanklessness, they are the one who feels it the most just because their job is to remain unseen and below the radar and outside of the like center of attention. And that is fine with them. That is where they're comfortable. I think in this final battle, I think as they are not quite looking at the dragon, but just kind of keeping an eye on the surroundings of this atmosphere, of this space that is larger and vaster and more looming than anything that she has ever experienced or seen or felt since she was born. I think she feels for the first time a sense of finality, but it's not from her, it's from her party. She can feel this sense of these people who are, as obvious and, as bright and as flashy as the surface world has tended to be. It is as clear to her as the blinding sun that they do not wish to do this anymore. And it doesn't quite click for her because in this moment, in this exact moment where she is taking one of her daggers and plunging it directly into one of the vital arteries of this dragon to make sure that its breath weapon is disabled by hitting a particular pressure point, she is contented in this moment, in this particular step, in this particular instant of this life, and she is satisfied. And so she would like to be here forever. She would like to stay in this moment forever. She would like to stay in this throng, this snapshot of heroism and camaraderie and family and beauty. And I think as she feels the life of this dragon end, so does that moment. And she feels that desire of forever slip away with the same inconsequential finality of a single tick of a metronome, which is the way all instants pass.
It's you. Oh. Oh,
This
that
is
was
what
so
happens when you
fucking
ask a
good.
DM to explain a thing, okay?
Okay, like what?
Because what the fuck? Okay,
Single
yes.
tick of a
Yep.
Come
metronome.
on,
Picture
pros.
that. No, for real.
And all that moment happens. The final drop of the dragon. Do we have like a color? Was this? I'll just say it's a red dragon. Fire.
Classic.
It's just
Classic.
easier.
Big red
Classic,
dragon.
classic.
Classic and classy.
That it drops dead to our feet. Everyone's in different. Did you said you power jump, right? Blue.
I probably like when the dragon fell, I probably just held on and landed on top of his head.
Um, Lowe's looks at everyone you in turn, breathing heavily, and just says, "It's done." And then we flash back into the moment on the island where Lowe's is just sitting there, um, minding their business, watching the sea go by, and fidgeting with the letter that their friend gave them. And they look it over again, toss it, like not toss it, but move it around, flip it through their hands. They have like lots of rings and everything on their hands as they watch in the distance building. They look like they're building like a new tower or something, like a watchtower for the beach line. As the days get, it's the I'm saying it's the days of, summer where people come in and they wanted more lifeguard stuff and everything.
Hmm.
And every day, Lowell's would sit there, watch them build a tower slowly but surely, leave, goes back to their maybe upstairs and they're avoiding the inn just yet, just for now, comes back again, watches, and then they're like, I want to do this. And they get up and they ask someone to hand them a hammer. And that's the close of my scene. And my keepsake is a hammer.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah, I didn't get a keepsake.
What is your keepsake from that scene?
The only thing I can think of is maybe a teacup.
Perhaps you could have gotten a Bobo-sized little crocheted hat that homegirl made you in thanks for getting the teacup.
I will commit horrible, inhumane crimes for Turtle Granny. Crimes, okay? Let's see. We got a crocheted hat for Bobo from Turtle Granny.
Who's next?
Go, go, go.
I guess I'll go next. To describe Katressa, first off, um, like I said, she is a drow elf. So this sort of like deep indigo skin, like dark, almost bluish purple, sort of an ashy, also gray undertone to it. They are not anything like their sort of large and looming companions from before. They are gaunt. They are incredibly scrawny, incredibly thin and lithe. They were meant for squeezing into small places and making their way through caves, not the sort of large urban underdark caves of those big fancy cities and all their bioluminescent moss. They come from caves. They come from the cramped, horrendous, like real world caves of you have to inch your way through like by millimeters over the course of 30 minutes. There's not enough room to turn around to look behind you. There's not enough room to even maneuver both of your arms. So you have to put one arm forward and one arm back. And you are lucky if you are tall enough to stand upon your hands and knees. In some places, they come from caves. And so they are built for caves. Um, their breath, their chest doesn't necessarily rise and fall. It is a almost perfectly and disturbingly still presence about them. Their attire is tight fitting, but functional. Very little sort of flowing attire, very basic, drab, meant for blending in with stone, various slabs of gray. They have, in their time on the surface, gotten these very large circular sunglasses that they are incredibly attached to. There is not a lot of room for glass in a environment as harsh and unforgiving as the Underdark, but they very much like their sunglasses, and it helps them not be so blinded by how disturbingly bright everything is around here. And it also hides their eye bags from the lack of sleep that they so typically get. I think their moment of deciding to stay here um, is sort of looking around this island that they have been to, once before, but they have been returned here um, by death, the death of an old friend, a funeral that the party was all invited to after the ending, after that instant, after things had disbanded. And I think they are doing what they do best and moving through the shadows and just kind of watching people and trying to sort of stay under the radar. And I think that they are, for like the first time, spotted by someone like in the town, like they are approached, and I would like to kind of leave it up to you guys to know like who would see this rogue, this being of sort of shadow and indiscretion, and who would kind of like approach them.
Apple,
Oh.
would you do us the honor of saying what our friend's name is that passed?
Our friend's name was the beloved dwarven. Used to be a tavern owner. Now it's just sort of it was like a nice little like safe house respite for people down on their luck, people who needed a home. Our beloved friend Heathcliff of the beloved, formerly known Heath's Hearth, um, had passed peacefully and had left it to the four adventurers who had sort of saved his tavern from a uh, cellar full of giant rats ages ago, lifetimes ago. But they left an impression. Yeah, that was Heathcliff. So they are just kind of strolling through town. Strolling.
Left us their tavern. Left us his tavern because we say we it did pest control. I am here for it.
Listen,
Listen,
we
it
did
was
pest
Yep.
really
control. We had a
special
nice,
pest
we had a
control. They were
very
particular
special
pests.
pest control. All right, we had a whole bonding
Yes.
experience. We were kind of the only patrons
Right.
for a while because no one wanted to because of the rats. But
Mhm.
we bonded with
Listen,
Heath.
we are
He
the
bonded with
Orchid Man,
us.
is all I'm saying.
We reminded us of
That's
his
cool.
grandchildren.
Okay. Well, would anybody like to play the NPC that spots apples? That spots Katressa? Katressa?
I feel like the person who spots you as a kid.
Oh, I'm here for this.
Like a little, like knobbly, gangly, maybe 10, 11, 12-year-old, somewhere up in there. Not fully a teenager, still awkward in their body. Lil, hey, hey, lady.
I think she will turn her head towards the kid, but like kind of look them up and down briefly, and then go right back to like avoiding their gaze. It's kind of hidden by the sunglasses, but she was raised by a Medusa, looking people directly in the eyes and not her strong suit at all. Hey, you.
Where are you going? Are you new around here? I've never seen you before.
Tressa is not good with kids. They do not interact with kids very often. Uh, and I think she will kind of look at this kid who's like treating her very bluntly, and she kind of like straightens. I'm not new. I'm here before, twice. I'm the one step down from new. Who are you? I haven't seen you before. Are you new?
No, my name's Mabel.
Hello,
My
Mabel.
family lives up the street there.
I'll kind of like look down the street as an excuse not to look anywhere in this kid's direction anymore. Mabel, have your parents ever told you not to talk to strangers?
Yeah, but it's fine. You don't look like a stranger. But I don't know who you are. Strangers are strange people, right? Is that right?
I think Katressa will like kneel and crouch down towards this child. And what do I look like then, if not a stranger?
You look like a nice lady.
They will smile at that with incredibly, like, strikingly white teeth. Do I now?
Yeah. You
Well,
want to come
Mabel.
play kickball?
They will blink, kick, ball.
Wait, you never played kickball before?
To what end?
Because it's fun. You kick a ball and you score points and then you run around. It's really cool. Come on. And you see Mabel will grab your hand and start hauling you off as children are wont to do.
And I think Katressa plays kickball. I think they are utterly and completely shit at kickball. I think Katressa was raised in caves, and therefore like running around in like wide open spaces is just something she is utterly fascinated by. And so she watches the kids play for a bit, and then she tries to join. and I think she's shitting it, and she gets outed immediately. Like the ball just like hits her in the back, and in a fit of rage, she stabs it with one of her daggers, and it just like deflates.
You see Mabel goes, "Hey, that's not what you're supposed to do. Damn it." And she knows she's not supposed to be cursing. And she does it anyway because she's 12. And so she does it anyway, and you hear the kids go, "Ooh, ooh, I'm telling your mom, Mabel." And Mabel goes, "No." And you see she takes off and runs away, and the game of kickball has completely disbanded as Mabel tries not to get in trouble.
I will just kind of like point my knife with like the deflated kickball on the end of it to the kids. First rule, all right? Snitches get stitches. No one tells Mabel's parents. And then I
The
will.
kids, like, they stand in shock and awe. Some look scared, most looked really intrigued because, you just stabbed a ball with a knife.
And I will just look at the knife, look at the kids. This was fun. I'd like to play again sometime. And I will walk to the market and try and like buy a new kickball with some of the money. And I will like drop it off at Mabel's house, um, offering to give a very like sheepish apology. And I
Apple.
will. Oh, go ahead.
I was gonna say, is your keepsake a deflated
My
kickball?
keepsake is a deflated kickball from Mabel's kickball game.
I love that.
Yes, yes, that's so
Yeah,
cute.
I think like after like dropping it off the doorstep, like knocking 3 times and like swiftly like walking away, I'll just kind of like look at the deflated kickball and just grin a bit. And I think I will flash back to that moment uh, with the dragon of sinking my knife into its neck and realizing that in this moment, stabbing a kickball surrounded by a bunch of snot-nosed kids, I can't feel a difference in the contentment of the moment. And I will pursue them further by staying here.
Beautifully done.
That is so cute.
Popcorn Bluu.
Mhm, mhm.
Hmm. Um. Hmm. Let's see. Hmm. I'm looking at some of these examples, and let me look at my little town experience. Okay. I like the idea of having the setup town experience, which is concocting social situations between two people. And I think that, hmm,
Describe your character.
sure. Jasper Axsyn is a being who has this like dark violet colored afro hair, eyes that are always closed and sort of smiling. When they open their eyes, they are like usually pure white, like no pupils or anything, but will sometimes be like a mess of colors, depending on his emotions. They have moth wings and curling antennas, and their wings resemble like a South American tropical buckeye. And it's made up of these shades of like black and like pale pink, or really saturated like fuchsia and purple and teal. And there are like four eyes, that very startling eyes that are on the wings that seem to move when he spreads them. They have these long, droopy, pointed ears with like golden hoops and studs littering them, and gold bangles and like a gold armband. They have like these vines wrapping around their calves and thighs. They usually don't wear shoes, with like this long, flowy skirt with like a sort of deep slit, and this like halter top that kind of resembles like flower petals. And they're wearing this open cloak with like black iridescent feathers. And Jasper just looks very kind. Like they have a sort of like dark rosy like blush around like the corner of their eyes and then like on their cheeks and nose, and they just look very welcoming and quite pleasant. But on the inside, Jasper is probably thinking it's hot as fuck out here, and I would very much like to go home. Um, I I like the idea of Jasper first arriving to town and finds themselves like picking up shifts at this local, I don't know, flower shop. And like the older man who owns the flower shop gets all shy and fucking doe-eyed when this other man comes in, and this man comes in like every day to buy a fresh bouquet, and the florist is always incredibly flustered, and Jasper is kind of like the face of the store now because new person in town. Oh, they carry like such a cool vibe, so they're always like helping people choose things. And the other man like has confessed to Jasper that they also like the florist, and Jasper's already picked up and teased the florist about liking the man. And I think this kind of when they first begin like, oh, I'm actually really good at like helping people fall in with each other. So that's what I think of for their scene. Maybe they, I don't know, maybe the man visits the store this time, and maybe he leaves and Jasper pulls the florist to the side and it's like, "Look, this is what you should do." And then maybe, like, goes back to talk to the other man like, "Hey, so here's the tea." I don't know. What do y'all think?
That's incredibly heckin' cute.
I do
Uh,
like the
I
hitch seat.
yes.
I think like
So
the shopkeeper would be like, so do you think they noticed the haircut?
Darling, absolutely. The haircut was perfect. Listen here, let's do this for a second. And they'll like take their finger and just do like a bit of like
What you
wave
doing?
a finger. Just hold on, just a moment. You'll
Okay,
you'll see.
okay.
They're like holding up the mirror with one hand and the other hand just like a bit of magic to bloom a flower in their hair, like a water lily. And Jasper, like, touches it, and they're like, "Absolutely perfect." I heard water lilies were his favorite.
I think in the mirror, because they're showing the mirror, right? I'm just going to call this person. I'll say he, they pronouns.
Uh-huh.
I'm gonna call them. Oh, we already got a he cliff. Um, what's called I'm looking around my room. Tor. T
Or
O
I like
R.
that.
Tor, I like
Or
'em.
he, they.
And they, when you put the flower as it blooms in there, I'll say like their little seeds go. You have to put a little clip over it so it can
Mhm.
stay.
Mhm.
Their face lights up in wonder. And I think they're dark skinned. I'll say human, and
Love it.
their face blush like they have like a deeper brown, and you could feel the heat radiating off of them. And they say when they look at the mirror that thank you. And is that person, did they come today or are they gone for the day?
Hmm. Let's say they haven't come in yet, but it's almost like around that time that they usually come in.
Okay. They are definitely getting ready, like cleaning off the towel. It's already cleaned. Everything is like already set up beautifully. And they go to that corner where those flowers that they always come to pick up. And that's
Mhm.
the one in their hair. They get a bunch of them. They tie them in with their favorite color is yellow because they want to match the other person's eyes, and take it with care and put all the water. I forgot. I want them to do like a seashell, like a
Oh, I love that.
nautilus shell as they clip all the things in the stems and arrange it like a heart for that person. And they just stand there, just ready for their man to come.
Would anybody like to play Floral Bay? Like,
I think Floral Bay struts in the door. The little bell, does a little like tingling. I
What
think
is
he.
Floral's Bay's name?
name and pronouns, please.
Let's see. Floral Bay's name is. We'll say Jafon.
Cute.
Yep. Yeah, Jafon is this sort of tall, half-orc gentleman. These bright yellow eyes like golden sunlight. And he will just kind of strut and say, hey, Tor. How you doing? Got the arrangement ready?
Yeah. They push the arrangement forward, and you see immediately they start blushing, and they ask, "Do you like the new look?" And they point to the flower, and
I think
like
Tor has like
they're
moved
kind
up
of
to
nervous.
the counter now. Has moved to the counter now. Has like started like take the arrangement, and he goes, "Yeah, that looks absolutely gorgeous there, Tor. Water lilies are actually my favorite flower. I'm not sure if you remember that. I mentioned it.
Yeah,
Oh,
every single time I remember.
oh,
Every You come
I
He is
think
so
a
he's like,
flirt right now.
often, I cannot not remember what you order.
oh, I mean, I don't mean to be a bother or anything like that. So it's just it's the
You're never a bother. I think they put their palm in, which is like extremely smaller than them, and they hold it on their wrist like that as they try to hold the flower to you. I don't say wrist, I'll say hand, because I don't know how big his
we'll say stupid big, like
Japan's
6'7",
stupid big.
6'8".
Yeah, so they put their hands on the vase, and they kind of like push it together for you so you won't let it slip, and says, like, looks you in the eye, "I always remember."
Thank you.
Um,
That,
I'm sorry. Real quick.
Looking
As
mhm.
beside, looking.
Yeah, no. Fucking Jasper is like behind Jafon, thumbs up, double thumbs up. And I think you see like behind Jasper, there's like a beaded curtain and like a spirit, this like sort of I'm thinking just typical, like, kind of like a bluish hue. They are transparent, and you see this spirit with, like, a straw hat covering their eyes and, like, a pipe out of their mouth come and whisper something into Jasper's ears, and Jasper, like, claps their hands together, gives a polite nod, and then looks back at you 2, and they're like, gentlemen, excuse me. I have a lovely surprise for you 2. Can you come back here?"
Oh,
um
yeah, sure. And it takes Jafar a minute to like look away from Tor. Yeah, sure. Jasper, what's up?
I think Tor I don't think Tor releases your hand. They're like they hold it and they walk around the counter, and they just have it so they could be close to you with the base touching it, and just follows you, and this says, "Yes, Jasper?" Looking at you like this.
like you're fucking up the moment here. Jasper smiles knowingly, and opens one eye just to like wink at Tor and will push back the beaded curtains and you all will see like I think the shop has like an inside garden and the windows are all these different colored planes. So when the sun is shining, it is just a mess of rainbows in there. And there are like birds flying around and there are like little critters in there. And in the center of it, there's a table set for 2. And like you see spirits like running, like flying around, like hanging up the last flower like arrangement and like lighting a candle and like setting the plate and pushing in like a little dessert cart. and like pushing up the tables, and then like they see Jasper and they all like quickly like disperse. But they don't really disperse. They like hide amongst the trees and shit, like peeking out because they also like want the tea to see this happen. And so Jasper just pulls the beads aside and they're like, I thought you two could use a little bit of time alone. I'm sorry I didn't ask you before, but I do hope you two will enjoy it. And everybody knows the shop is closed for the rest of the day, so you are fine.
I think Tor looks at you and they smile for a moment and they look back at
Jafan.
Jafan
Jafan.
and just, slowly remove their hands from you. They don't want to let go, but they slowly let it go. And they walk over to the table and pull a chair out for you. And it says, tea?
Uh, tea sounds phenomenal. And they don't want to let the vase go either, but they will first sort of place the bouquet as like a little centerpiece on the table. And they will nod in thanks towards Tor and they will sit down.
Jasper leaves quietly.
Yeah. That's in their own world basically now.
Yes. Sorry for all my gay noises during this, but I love that.
Babes,
I love
the
that a
only
lot.
reason I wasn't making gay noises is because your boy was on mute, okay? Because I already knew if I squealed any louder, I would gain out, okay?
Yo.
Good
Bluu,
heavens.
Bluu,
everything.
what's your keepsake from this moment?
A water lily. Jasper wears it in their hair.
Oh my gosh. I love this so much. Okay. So,
How we feeling? Ready
My
for the next
headcanon is
game?
that Jasper and Tor are now married and have several children. Thanks.
Jasper and Tor. Oh, Jafan and Tor?
Yes, sorry,
Yeah,
Javon
yeah.
and Tor, yes.
Because I was like, you
Plot
married the
twist.
florist? What
Jasper just
happened?
stole Jafan's man.
Can it be a polycule?
Built the home
I'll
to
give you
wreck the home.
Hey,
Hey, yo.
5D chess in it, love it.
Listen.
That was a lot of fun.
Okay. That was a lot of
That was a
fun.
lot
I
of
love
fun.
the first step. This is great. That's dope. So, what's our next game?
I believe the next game would be
Is it
Shields and
shields?
Skillets.
Shields and skillets? Fuck yeah. I have shields and skillets pulled up. And I also can pull it up in roll 20. Here we are. Okay. So in this game, everyone plays. So it says enchantments are volatile things, especially when they sit unused for years. A long time ago, many returned adventurers died in tragic accidents caused by their old enchanted equipment. Homes were leveled, sometimes even whole towns. Some believe these disasters were caused by the curses an adventurer accumulated over their career. Certain enchanters eventually realized the root of the problem, but they couldn't separate the magical and physical on their own. It takes a high level of skill in both disciplines to disentangle the work that created such an item. This is why enchanters and blacksmiths often travel in pairs. One such pair has just arrived now. So everyone plays. Every adventurer that has an enchanted item describes it first. Then each other adventurer recounts stories of how the item was used in the past, tell at least one story for each item. So the question is, do y'all think y'all have enchanted items?
Yeah, for sure.
Absolutely.
Because I slick feel like I do too. It's probably my armor thinking
Yeah,
about it.
I think it's their staff thing with the huge dewdrop.
Also, real quick, can we
Yeah,
say like the lore of like blacksmiths and enchanters like traveling in pairs to like
I fuck with
fix
that so
enchanted item
heavy.
expiration dates is phenomenal. Real quick, like I
I
love
fuck
that
Yeah,
with
for
that
that.
so
so
heavy.
much. I fuck that. That's
What's the
so
name of the
fucking
game
heavy.
again?
Shields and
Shields and
skillets.
skillets.
Shields and Skill. Okay, it's
Mhm.
right here. Okay, thank you.
If you want, I could start.
Please do.
Okay. I think by this time, I'm trying to think how long this would be. Um,
I think we've like
I
had the
think
tavern for like a couple of months now, or like it's like getting into like the groove of things.
You think a couple months?
Are we going sooner? Or like a couple of weeks? Are we still getting like set up?
I'll
Hmm.
Days?
say a month. I'll say a month
A
because
month? Yeah, that
Yeah.
makes sense.
so we
That makes
we are
sense.
established. We have our rooms if we are living at the inn or
Maybe it's not open
houses.
yet.
Yeah, it's not open yet because
Yeah,
we
we're still
don't.
getting things together. Ooh,
Because this is a
these
month.
could be our first some of our first
We
patrons.
think they're a customer. They're like, no, actually, the expiration dates are coming up on your items. We've been trying to reach you about your bag of
But
holdings
your
and
weapon
extended
didn't
Not a
return
warranty.
repo.
worthlessly.
Like,
Not a repo.
it's like
Yeah.
we'll take a drink. Like, sure, we'll take a drink, but like we got to get this shit handled.
Yeah. Oh, Apple, I'll ask you to join the scene with me because you are the bartender. So what would you say to this person or um bartender? Not bartender, the blacksmith and
Yeah,
the enchanter.
yeah. I think that like as they are entering, I am like behind the bar. We haven't like officially opened yet, so I'm mainly just like getting things like all set up. The top shelf is like like scarcely used since I'm short and cannot like reach it like too much. So there's like a little like step stool, but like it's mostly empty. I think as they enter in, does someone else want to make the enchanter and I can like make the blacksmith, or does someone else want to make like what they look like or what they are like?
I'll pick
'Cause I
the
want to.
enchanter.
Okay. I will say then
Alright.
that the blacksmith is a warforged individual. They have this sort of like very sort of sleek plate mail that is like ingrained into their machinery and mechanics. But they also have this like very like nice looking like leather apron that's sort of like very soft. They carry like a very large backpack along with them. This has their portable forge on them and various tools that they use for the trade. And I would say that as like a little bit of flavor, like on their face, are just like a bunch of like monocles and like handlebar mustaches and like a couple of like heartfelt notes and things that the enchanter writes on them like when they're sleeping. So they're just like very like low key graffitied and or decorated just as like a cute little like cosmetic thing.
Um, I love that a lot. I
And I'll
think
say their
the
name is
enchanter.
Markov.
Oh, Markov?
Yeah. Capital
Markov. What
MK and
pronouns?
then a Roman numeral for 4, so Mark 4, but
Oh
they go
my
by Markov
God.
for short.
Clever, clever. What pronouns?
Always. We'll say they any.
They, I mean, Um, I'm gonna make the enchanter a fairy. Uh, they are this sort of fist-sized, honestly, enchanter with like these heavy black gloves on. They have a spiked mohawk that is electric blue. They have like this heavy black makeup and a very like it's honestly what I'm imagining is like a spiked jacket, but make the jacket a cloak. Because like they're an enchanted to like magic vibes. And I
Yeah,
just
love
like
it.
the idea that their wings are like these sharp, like zigzag, sparkly, like gray and black wings. Um, and what's my fairy's name? Hmm. Let's go with Cassia.
You got a punk rock
Cassia,
fairy.
yeah, punk rock fairy. They them pronouns.
Mhm. Period.
I think as they're sitting at the bar and Apple, how do you pronounce your character's name again? Kestra?
Katressa.
Katressa. Why I just do the other
Katressa,
words?
Katressa,
Katressa with a soft S. Like a
Katressa.
snake.
Mm, literally snake. Um uh as you are, I think there's like a stairs behind the bar, like, to the we'll figure out the layout of the thing, but there's a stairs coming downstairs, set of stairs coming downstairs to
Mhm.
that area of like the main opening, and there's a bar, and LaRouge walks down the stairs and stops for a moment and looks at them too, and looks at um Kestra. Kestra, can I call you a nickname?
Cat.
Okay. Um, the Rouge looks at you, look at the patrons that are not supposed to be in here because this place looks like a dump, and they do like a message, the saying, "Why they're here?"
A message back. I have no clue. I think I'm supposed to greet them though, since I'm the bartender. Uh, hello, welcome to the Hearth and Holler. Hollow. They'll like look towards you.
And they message, "Holler, holler."
Welcome to the Hearth and Hollow. How can I help you?
Boss, you wanna? It's fine. I'll do it. Hi. We're here about your. And they open up a big ass like notepad, flips through it, puts the pen behind their ears. Your enchanted weapon or item extended warranties. It's time to pack it up, babe. Katressa, is that you?
Katressa will unhand the dagger that she was like eyeing like under the counter, thinking that they might have been like debt collectors. Debt collectors are like some shit like bounty hunters.
I said, "Cat, don't do that. Don't do that."
They'll look and say, right, the warranty. Shit, where did I put those items? Uh, do you know where our like old shit is?
I think finally, you just see this like jellyfish of a person standing on the stairs, mean mugging you, and like having that message back and forth, and just says to them, to the patrons, welcome. Um, they're looking at them. How do you know about our weapons?
Oh, well, you see, you registered them with the what's a good art what? Arcana enchantment maintenance. Let me see.
Aim. Hate him.
Arcana maintenance department.
The shakeup, isn't
Yes,
it?
aimed. Yep. Well, see, your items were registered with AIM, the Arcana Enchanted Maintenance Department, and from the looks of it, there are several expiration dates coming up for a Katressa. A how do you say this? They like lean over to the Warforged to show Leo's name.
Who's being the Warforged? Is it me?
That's true. Yeah. Who would like to be
Yeah,
the
all right.
Warforged?
Oh, I can be the Warforged.
Warforged it up.
Um, Leona? Sorry. How do you say this? How do you say your name?
I'm so sorry. I have too many windows up, but I was like
No.
looking. Um, they say calmly, Leonius Lewis, and
Leonis Lewis.
All right, that's right. I see you over here too. Now, the way we do things, they like from somewhere pull out a big ass suitcase and slams it on the top of the bar. Flipped its latches, it opens it up, and there is like this crystal ball that floats from the suitcase, and it's sort of like a projector. And like so in the game, in the shield and skillets, it says that you recount stories of how the item was used in the past. So tell at least one story for each item. I kind of like the idea of like the story, like a part of the condition of like getting this checked out or whatever is like having to share that story, like having to share that memory and it being projected on this crystal ball. What do y'all think?
I do
That's
like
really
that
cool.
sort of like, okay, well, we need to know how this item has gotten its wear and tear to know how the enchantments may have frayed. So how has this item been used in the past?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
okay. I think Leona's looks at them and just says, "I'll be right back." And you hear like, I don't think you hear footprints. You just hear nothing as they float upstairs.
Katressa in turn will like lean across the bar with like a very like easygoing grin. Waz will get your items. In the meantime, can I interest you in a drink?
Got
Uh,
hot cocoa?
We do have hot
yeah,
cocoa.
double on the hot cocoa.
They'll like look at the Warforged double on the hot cocoa.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
Katressa
Extra
will
whipped cream on mine, please.
Extra strong for me.
extra strong, as in alcohol in the hot cocoa, or extra whipped cream as well, or extra strong whipped cream.
He stares. Doesn't respond.
Okay, right. And Katressa will fumble around the bar and cobble together a hot cocoa.
Do you want me to bring your stuff down? Is there anything
If you
particular
could,
that you
please.
want, Apple? Like in above board, what would you particularly want?
I would say Katressa probably has like a cloak of billowing that they've had like forever, which is just like a dark cloak that can like flap dramatically in a non-existent wind. It's just like a very like common item, like very cosmetic. I think that they were incredibly transfixed with like wind itself and just like having space, just like have clothing that like flows and like moves around. So it was like one of the first things they bought with like their first like major adventuring payout. But yeah, it's just like a cloak that can flap in non-existent wind.
Okay. I think I picked that up. And is anybody else here? Or are we gonna just want do we want to
Should we
do
just
this
do it all
together?
together? I
Yeah.
don't
How you
I
mind. Like,
feel?
think
I say it's all of
Garen,
us.
Oh, go ahead.
yeah.
Yeah.
I know Garen is out in the garden, but he can, make an entrance should that be needed.
And
I'm
then
gonna
where
say,
is Blue?
yeah, I'm gonna say Jasper was actually napping in the sunroom, and they hear like the bang of the suitcase being placed on the bar, and they yank back the beaded curtains because I think one thing about Jasper is they hate being woken up, and so they like look at Katressa and they look at Kessia and Margoth and very polite smile that is quite fucking strained. To what do we owe these loud guests? Kes?
Expiration date's coming up on all the enchanted items, love.
Am I on the list? And I think Kessia like flips through it, and they're like, name, Jasper Axsyn. Ah, yeah, all right. Oh, I guess you all are here, huh? And then they like look at it. Maybe I imagine they're getting like pings of niggas or something. They're like, is there a Garen here?
Garen bursts through the door carrying like a carton of like lettuce and carrots and potatoes and stuff, and he goes he wipes the back of his hand across his forehead, and there's dirt smudged there, and he goes, yeah, that's me. Sorry, let me just drop this all off. And he bustles back into the kitchen, drops everything off, comes back. What's going on?
Arcana Enchantment Maintenance Department. We're here to get your expired enchantment items.
Oh, you want to take a look at my armor?
Your extended warranty is up, buddy. Go get your shit. Like, come on.
You see Garen straight up like start to strip because like he's wearing his stuff.
I'm dead.
Like he just
Not you
pulls off.
farming in your armor.
Not ar-
It,
armor
it's only
farming
1
broke.
month.
Armor farming woke. All right.
It's only 1 month. It's only 1 month. We're not that good about our jobs, okay?
True. So
Right.
fucking true.
I think my character comes downstairs and hands Cat their robe, and I dig into my luminous like purple robes, my sword.
Cat's
And
eyes light up at the robe and she like inspects it quietly.
does anybody else? Oh, I'll just go first. I think what I will do is, this is my sword, and they don't unsheath it because they haven't in a while. So you said that there's a projector, right?
Cassie will like gesture towards the crystal ball and be like, go ahead and please place your finger there, and the memory will just play.
Okay. And they basically, what they do, they walk over, they hover over, let me be specific, and put their whole dark dark purple, kind of like brownish hand on it with all the rings and the gold and the silver, and it covers most of the crystal. And how does it flare up?
I think there is like a flicker, almost like the way a TV like used to be able to turn on, like the old TVs, is like that flicker, that sort of like blink, and then like the seam of light, and then I think a rectangle opens up on all sides of the crystal ball that is like literally projecting the memory movie style.
Okay. So what everyone sees on the screen is the last battle.
What a doozy!
It because that was the last time they used their weapon.
Fuck, hell of a
So
way to start.
instead of, before usually you just hear a hum, you hear a voice that when Laruz or Uzi or Leonius battles, they look like they're, when they're in this state, is calm, but when they open the sword and this hum resides in them. I can't say the word. in
We
them,
got
and
you
it,
though.
yeah, we got you. Yeah, yeah. It clicks on, and you hear like a haunting melody. And guess what? I made this up. I think I'm gonna use my clapping game that they hear all the time. Is basically like it sounds like a multiple of like children, adults. There is like it's, you could hear like rolling rocks if they had a voice, all coming in one. And this says this melody to caught in the keeper's net, clap, 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 covered in the secrets of the world, clap, clap. Foolish creatures, clap. Silly little fish, clap. Who said you're tangled, clap. Who said you're trapped, clap. And then it continues. This is the part they repeat over and over. You will find your truth, clap, clap. You will find your truth, clap, clap. You will find your truth, clap, clap.
Oh, fuck, that's so
And
cool.
they hear that voice over and over, and it continues, and that plays over in the head as when they attack, they see the lasting of that battle as they stab into that dragon. The clap clap is like the edging of the sword in there being turned, and hearing the cracking of the bones and everything. And it's just clap, clap as it comes out. It's like a rhythm as they battle. And when that pops off the screen, they hand you their weapon.
Well, fuck, all right. Cassie, like, takes several notes. Okay, so Satine, then roll a coin, flip a coin. Oh wait, well, flip your coin, but keep your result to yourself, because we have to share that result once everybody has told their stories.
Okay.
Who want to go
Let's do that.
next?
So I think Garen is like you see like the scars on his body, but you see this heavy ass chainmail armor covered in dust and dirt from like farming in it because he ain't got no damn couth clearly. um so he like drops this heavy ass armor on the bar and like holds his hand over the crystal ball, and you see him being lowered into someone else's house via rope with this big ass dragon bone hammer on his back, and you hear the Mission Impossible music do 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 do, and
So good.
he's the one making that noise, and he goes like, and he's like
Adorable.
the entire, you see him wearing like this really ratty leather armor that's falling apart at the seams, and as he's being lowered into this area, the rope snaps and he like 3-point lands like a superhero.
Mm-hmm.
And you hear like people banging down the door, like the guards of this area banging down the door, and in this like case you see gleaming silver ringlets, perfect perfect chainmail armor. The chainmail armor that he was just farming in a special case, being displayed next to this like gorgeous long sword. And you see Garen looks at it and goes, huh, well, I don't need the sword, but this armor would match my hammer beautifully. And so he takes up the armor and like quickly strips and like puts it on just as you hear people like banging through the door, like the guards getting through the door. And just as he's like picking up his like the pants of the armor, he is surrounded by guards people, and he takes his hammer and does this like whirlwind situation and cracks everybody's skull and lays them flat like dominoes, and then bursts out of the house, uh or bursts out of the little museum area, whatever it was. And that is how he got this armor. Turns out he didn't know that it was enchanted to begin with. Bobo gave him a tip and was like, you could do with some better armor. And Garen was like, yeah, okay. And went and looked for this armor situation, found it. Turns out it was enchanted to begin with, where he's never been pierced. He has been hit, he has
Mm.
been bludgeoned, he has been like, but he's never been pierced.
Mm.
So it all shakes out that way. And that's what you see as he holds his hand over this armor. I mean,
I
over
love
this
it.
crystal ball.
Delightful. Also, are we all supposed to like all give like our stories, like other adventures are given like our stories, like with the other characters' items, like the other heroes' items, it looks like in the setup? So like
Well, what we can do because of like how it's set up now, we could just all do it together. Oh yeah,
yeah.
Alix, the head to tails.
Ooh.
Uh, oh, are we keeping it secret
Yes,
or are we
we're doing a
telling you
coin
now?
flip.
Did
Yeah,
you?
doing a
Okay.
coin
Yeah,
flip
yeah,
and then
yeah.
keep it secret.
I got it. I got
Yeah.
it.
In that case, then if we're all just
So
like doing
wait,
our yeah, I feel like
wait,
we're
I'm sorry. Can you explain it again, Apple? You said we were supposed to like say an item, but then the other player was supposed to recount
yeah,
how
like
we got it.
yeah, I think like for like the game like as written, it's we all
Mm-hmm.
tell an item, then every other adventure gives a story like about that item and like how it was used in the past. I think we're all just doing our own
Okay.
thing now. I think just
Oh,
like for the
we're
I
still
mean,
doing it.
since Satine and Alice went already, do you want to do that for each other?
yeah, I mean we can also just like yeah, we can also like do our items for ourselves, and then we can all just like go around real quick and like share like fun little antidotes
Yeah,
if we want.
I'm fine with whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, wonderful. Yeah,
Yeah,
so
yeah,
I'll
yeah.
I guess I'll do my item next then.
Mhm.
I think for Katressa's like cloak of billowing, it is literally just like purchased in a shop. I think this is like one of the like first like items she made. It was like some kind of like town fair or like street market or road market that was taking place, and the entire time we see Katressa with her like not like her like final stage sunglasses, but this like very like improvised like dark lenses, still squinting at everything. And she is utterly transfixed at this like outdoor vendor stand with these cloaks that kind of like billow in the wind as she like puts her thumb on this projector screen. I think she is staring transfixed at it and the mechanics of everything. And as she just sort of like very carefully takes it off the rack, the vendor does what vendors do and like, oh yeah, that would look great on you. You wanna try it on? You do a couple of give it a couple of test rounds? And she will nod enthusiastically and clasp it on herself and just kind of like look at the cloak, watch it move, watch it stretch outwards in a wind that doesn't exist. And I think seeing the cloak move freely, she will just kind of like look upwards towards the sky and stretch and just enjoy the sensation of like stretching and having the space to stretch and do like a spin and a twirl and all these wild, almost like baltering, improvised, horrendously uncoordinated, like dancing with these like wide sweeping motions and movements. And all the while, the cloak is sort of like almost moving in tandem with her. And I think the joy of like being in space, of taking up space, is like sinking in finally on the surface. And that is the memory.
That's so beautiful. I
Heads
love
or
that.
tails, Apple.
Go ahead, flip your coin.
Roll this shit real quick. All this bullshit. All right, I got it. Blue, you're up.
Okay. Hmm. I was still trying to decide what Jasper would give up. Um, I guess they'd give up their. Fuck. Um, I'm gonna say they'd give up their iridescent cloak of feathers. I think they were even wearing it at that moment. Um, and they slide it off of his shoulders, and he kind of holds it, like stares down at it with for once like not a smile, not wearing a smile, just like a very neutral expression. Um Pregnant pause and then approaches the crystal ball and daintily presses a finger to it. I think the memory that plays for them. Hmm. So tell me how this tickles your ear, particularly Alex. Garen was like the hunter of the group. How do you feel about like Garen having collected these feathers and like
Ooh.
fashioned a cloak for Jasper who complained of like being cold at night?
Yeah, I think me and Bobo could have done that easily, especially with as much hunting as we did together.
I love that. I think we see like a dark night with like this ringed planet very close to us, like hanging in the sky. It has like several moons surrounding it. There are like three smaller planets, but it's so close that you swear if you rose your hand, you could touch it. And Jasper is sort of sitting on top of this rock with a small, like blue fire next to them, conjured from I don't know, like the after, their spirit realm. And he's sort of hugging his knees to his chest, and then staring upwards. Uh, Ears are blue at the tips because they are fucking cold. And I think Jasper is just sitting there, head turned upwards towards the sky when Garen finds them.
I think Garen has this cloak that he's been working on for a while, and they kind of just like drape it over you like a blanket, and let it fall onto your shoulders, and they sit next to you. They run hot, so they ain't cold. But they sit next to you, and he says, I hope you like it. I know you're cold often out here on the road."
Jasper is like jumps when it is first put on his shoulders, but then kind of raises their arms a little bit to look at it. And they just see these beautiful black feathers shining in the light. And I think it, hmm, I think it almost reminds them of like home, honestly. It reminds them of their parent, um, and it just reminds them of like that warmth of cuddling with like their parent and their like mess of siblings. I think they come from like a big ass family. And like, them experiencing, like, such cold like, these cold nights and more so, like, by themselves is new for them, and so when Garen comes and puts this over their shoulders and, like, sits next to them, I think it just reminds them of those moments they spent with their family around a fire and, like, all the kids are yelling, and we're all pushing each other, but it's warm and it's home and it is filled with love and bursting with love, and they just recall that feeling, and I don't think no, I think he'd say, "This is quite lovely, thank you." And they just lean into Garen.
Garen puts his big ass arm around your itty little shoulders and brings you in closer. And you see Bobo kind of curls up around, like curls his tail around your neck and curls up around Garen's neck because he's big. Um, so you're like extra snuggly and warm.
So sweet. I love that. Big fan of that.
So,
Shall we
heads
reveal
or
our
tails?
roles?
Okay. So let me start. We just go. Let's go in like the order. So like me,
Mm,
Alix, Apple, and Blue.
mhm.
Um, I got heads.
Ooh, I also got
So,
heads.
ooh.
I got tails.
I also got tails.
Well,
Oh
well, y'all be good. Y'all
no! It'll be
y'all take it
fine.
easy.
Y'all be
um,
safe now.
yeah. So I think for mines, as they hand over the weapon and think about what it gets, what is the process of how it looks like? Does it get sucked into the crystal ball? Do I put like this or?
I think, Cassia is like, "Item, please."
Jonas hands you the item.
Thank you. And they like push it into the crystal ball, and it disappears. Um, and let me think. I think there is like on the screen, it is like a picture of the item and maybe even like a little loading bar of like it trying to safely disenchant it. Um, and it says the blacksmith asks if you would like to forward it into something new. So I will hand that over to Alix.
Uh, would you did you want something different out of this, or do you want to leave it as is?
I think they look at the weapon in the crystal ball. I think it's like it goes dun, 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 green, good.
Mm-hmm.
And when y'all's and the tails,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
red. But they think about it and they said yes. Can I get some tools?
Hmm.
Yeah, I can make you some tools.
Cassia holds up this like almost like a bucket, like a thick ass bucket underneath the crystal ball and like is hot. Like your item has now been like melted down to its purest form and they capture it in that bucket and they hand it over to Markov to forge into something.
You see Markov takes this, like, from nowhere, pulls this massive, like, hammer and starts boom, boom, boom on this portable anvil that he's got. And it's on top of the bar and it's shaking the literal bar. And so you see he like pounds through all of this heavy metal and shapes it into a screwdriver, into a wrench, into a hammerhead, into, and you've got a set of tools, uh different bits, different types of screwdrivers, all kinds of awesome stuff. And he hands it to you and goes, "Is this what you were looking for?"
I think Leonis looks at it and it's like it's obsidian, um, like now stone items, and they, I guess what they do is pick it up, put it on the bar, and look over it, and says, and they kind of smile and they say, "Yes, this is what I need."
Wonderful. Next. Oh, I got heads. What do I think I'm gonna ask Markov to transform my armor, to like transform it into pruning shears, a
Mm,
trowel,
gardening
and
tools.
gardening tools. Yeah, I'm gonna have my armor be turned into gardening tools.
I love that. It's big enough too. Shit.
It is, right. All this fucking
Yeah.
metal.
Cassia does the same thing, takes it, pushes it into this crystal ball, gathers its melted down form and hands it over to Markov.
And Markov takes it in, immediately goes to town with this anvil. Boom, boom, boom. Heavy rings turned into objects to grow.
Mm, I love that. My good bitch, Katressa. Cassia takes the cloak, pushes it in. It's that little loading bar, and the crystal ball turns pitch black, like matte black. Um, and it just says like error in this sort of whatever, like, fantasy language like they all speak. And Cassie's like, oh, no good there. Looks like it was way past the expiration date.
I think Katressa's like staring at the machine. Turn it off and turn it back on again.
No, that's not how it works.
Can I have it back, please?
Um, and Cassia will like snatch the crystal ball out of the air and like bang a little fist on it, and then we see it kind of glitches and it turns back on, and what comes out is like the item in tatters.
I think Katressa just like looks down at like the tatters and scraps of her cloak, and just kind of like watches them flutter for a bit.
I can make you
No,
quilt.
don't.
I think Katressa will like go turn around briefly, turn back around, and place down on the bar one hot chocolate with extra whipped cream and slide it over towards Markov. And then one hot chocolate, and she will take out a bottle of rum, uncork it, and then just like pour it into the rest of like the second hot chocolate. Offer it to Cassia, pour herself another glass of that rum. To the wind.
Cheers to that.
Wind. And you see Markov takes a hefty sip. Warforged glitches a little. I don't know why he's drinking hot cocoa, but here we
That's why
go.
Katressa gave him a look like, okay, sure, but hot cocoa for the War Force. We'll see how that works out. Katressa will down the glass. I guess I need to clean that up. And they'll just like go and just gather up the scraps. And go out back towards the garden and just like scatter them out towards the wind.
I love that.
Fucking aim. And that's we cut away from her.
Fucking aimed indeed. Okay, so question. I know it says there's very little left of the item. There's very little of the item left to salvage. Does that still mean we could make something, but like, I guess, small?
Yeah, this could be your keepsake.
Yeah, it can be a keepsake.
Scraps of your broken item.
I think Kessia is like, all right, well, there's that. And pushes Jasper's cloak of feathers in, and just like cats, it spits itself back out, and like just a mess of feathers and ribbons and like a couple of like the gold beads. And Jasper is staring at it, like gathered on the table, um, and just clears their throat very loudly, and will say, "Well, this is deeply unfortunate. Mm, I'll just," and they will kind of conjure this sort of like this little ball of, I don't know, like water, like dew and mist in their hands, and it gathers up the feathers and like gold beads and string and such, and they clasp their hand around it like really tight into a very small, just putting like pressure on it, and then when they raise their hands, it is um like a little bird, like a little like stuffed bird with the golden eyes of the bees that were used, and it has a little bow made from the tie that it was like strung along with, and it is made from the feathers that, you know, just fell apart. And Jasper lifts it up very carefully and stares at it for a moment, and they finally smile in this moment, and they turn to Garen and offer it to Garen.
Garen looks at you see Garen is still like messing around with his tools, but as you like turn to him and give him this adorable little bird, he Garen starts to cry, like his eyes well up with tears, and he's like, "Aw, Jazz,
Now,
thanks,
now,
man."
of of course, seeing that memory just it was warm. And I think this will carry a little bit of my warmth in it, and it is like a small, like, warmth to it. If you put it up to your ear, you can hear the fluttering of moth wings.
I'm putting that on my character sheet because that's fun. Okay, so we slick did it wrong, but that
That was
shields and
still very
skill is
fucking
that was
fun, though.
really cool.
Yeah, I
Okay.
deeply enjoyed that.
Love that.
Hey, we didn't do it wrong. We got to
We
the
did it our way.
end. We did it
We
our
did it
way.
our way.
We did a flavorful. We did a flavorful.
Mhm.
Do we want wear and tear now then?
Yeah.
Yeah, let's do
I'm
some wear
achy.
and tear.
Mm-hmm.
Not gonna
Okay,
lie.
what do we want to?
What page is the wear and tear on? Oh, wait, it's a thing in here for it.
Yeah,
Hmm.
it's on roll 20.
Shout out to Roll20.
Roll
Sponsor us.
20.
So the question is, what do we want to improve? Our cuisine, our atmosphere, or
Atmosphere.
service?
I think atmosphere too.
I think atmosphere. We've established this bitch is ratty. She needs some work. WERKTM, and I think we need to do that.
How about you, Apple?
Atmosphere.
I'm going with atmosphere. The group has spoken. So we're gonna move up to a 2 now in atmosphere. So it's a little plain but homey. Not a bad place to get a good night's sleep. So
Hmm.
So how do we
Yeah.
how do
We
we
So
may
keep
I
this
increase one
place
of our
up?
tavern ratings by 1. Okay, yeah, atmosphere. Cute. Okay, I like that. Yeah, we patch up all the holes in the ceiling.
we do. I
New
mean,
paint job.
and like the garden is like weeded properly because I have proper tools now. Fucking Leo has proper tools now. The holes can be patched. This is great.
you hear the hammering. That is constant. Now all the leaks are now closed up. Like they're trying their best, but they have figured out by asking like local people how to patch up, cement the top to make it like no more rain coming
Mm,
through.
mm-hmm.
And they're thinking about their another project is fixing the beds.
Yeah. I love that. We no longer have a leaky roof. Come on,
Love it
Hearth and
dearly.
Holler. Let's go. Okay, bet. So I think we're going to call our very first session of Stew Pot here. First and foremost, thank you so much again to Evil Hat for sponsoring this production. Thank you to all of the bards for being fucking fantastic. And I'm going to allow everybody to go around and introduce themselves and where they can find them and hang out with us on the interwebs. So I'm gonna go around. We're gonna do reverse order. I think we're gonna do Satine first.
Hello, my name is Sateenbonnet or Satine Short. My pronouns is my name and none. I don't know why I sound like a robot, but you can find me on Blue Sky Yapping and also all things Batty Bards.
And next on our list we have Apple.
Hello, I'm Apelegeuse. It's Apelegeuse spelled like Beetlejuice. You can find me on TikTok a little bit, but other than that, I am pretty scarce. Will be less scarce in the future. You can find me on Baddie Bars as well. But yeah.
Oh, yeah. And last but not least, we have Blueberry.
Hello, I am the bluest berry. I am known in the internet streets as Kyngvee underscore, and that's King with a Y. Um, I'm in so many places right now. Please send help. Um, they have me locked in a basement at 3 a.m. Um, no, but yeah, you can find me on internet streets as King V. I do a lot, so just check out my card and check out my blue sky to see where I'll be at.
Oh, yeah. And I am Alex. I use they, them pronouns. Uh, what do I say? I am executive producer over here at Baddie Bards. And I am around all things Baddie Bards, blah, blah, blah. That is where I tend to be the most often. But if you want to hang out with me specifically, you can catch me out at alixama underscore. That's Alex with an I and AMA underscore. You can find me just about everywhere on these internet streets doing whatever the hell I feel like doing. So come hang out. And we will see you guys next Saturday or Sunday, one of those two. Next Saturday or Sunday, Friday, Friday or Saturday. There we go. Thank you. Thank you, Satenius, because I don't be knowing. So we will find you next weekend for Stew Pot Session 2 and more Hearth and Holler. Thank you guys so much for coming, and we will see you soon. Say goodbye.
Goodbye.
Evil Hat is going to be sponsoring us giving away 2 copies of Stew Pot. So what do you gotta do to enter? Well, firstly, you want to follow Evil Hat Productions and Baddie Bards on Instagram and Blue Sky. Next, you want to enter the complete secret code. Once you have all the parts to the code, you can fill out the form that's going to pop up in the Twitch chat right now, or in the Baddie Bards beacons, or in the YouTube description. Just a quick note, this giveaway is only for people in the US. Got all that? Episode 1's code word is Hearth. If you want the rest of the code, be sure to tune in next Friday for another episode of Hearth and Holler. Thank you again to Evil Hat for sponsoring this production. Please be sure to go to their website if you want to find games like Stew Pot or other awesome games like Girl by Moonlight or Monster of the Week or Apocalypse Keys. Oh, Apocalypse Keys is a good one. Happy Pride, y'all. Take care, be safe, and have a lot of fun. We are here.